Rutgers men's basketball lands a second commitment of the 2025 class on Wednesday night with four-star point guard Lino Mark out of Sherman Oaks, California. Plays for the Oakland Soldiers in the AAU circuit, high-profile EYBL team that made it to the Peach Jam finals. Mark caught the attention of Rutgers over the summer at the Peach Jam. He visited in September, and here you go. He's now a Rutgers Scarlet Knight, had a Final 8 at one point in early September, including Loyola Marymount, Seton Hall, TCU, UC Santa Barbara, USC, Utah, and West Virginia. He cut it down to Rutgers, Seton Hall, USC, and West Virginia. As I mentioned, he visited in September at Rutgers. They had the last visit. That's always the good sign. And they've now landed his commitment to the class. He announced at an event on Wednesday night in California. And, he's an interesting background just in terms of his experience playing with top talent. Like I mentioned, for the Oakland Soldiers, they have the number one ranked player in the 25 class, AJ DeSanta, and number one player in the 26 class in Tyron Stokes. Modest averages for Mark. He averaged 6 points, 3 assists, almost 3 rebounds a game, coming off the bench about 20 minutes for his team in the EYBL play. But overall, he is someone that has a lot of versatility. He can push the pace. He can hit threes. He knows how to facilitate. And he's a full court defender. And that is, just fits the bill, of course, for Steve Pikiell. And, he's an athletic point guard that can push the pace for a program that has kind of shifted offensively in terms of looking to run, looking to space the floor, and having guards that can create scoring opportunities while also defending ball pressure. As always, Lino Mark checks those boxes. Overall, in terms of his Peach Jam performance, he averaged 5.6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists in 17 minutes. But for the entire EYBL cycle, it was a little bit better than that. But he had a key game for them in that run to the finals. He scored 13 points and was 2 of 5 from 3, 5 of 8 from the floor in an earlier game against UPlay, a Canadian team that hopefully ultimately helped get them to the championship. And so he's got big game experience. And I think that that's important. And this is a kid to go along now with big man Javonte Ware, another 3-star that committed recently. Rutgers now on the board with 2 recruits. Mark, top 125 recruit, 3-star by a lot of services. The composite has him at 4 stars. And overall, listen, number 15 point guard in the class. He's a little bit smaller than Rutgers is used to. He's, same size as JaMychal Davis at 6'2". He's pretty thin. He's going to need to bulk up. He's going to need to add some strength. Obviously, David Van Dyke doing a tremendous job with this Rutgers program this offseason. The entire team is in tremendous shape. And this guy's going to, Mark's going to be able to push the pace. And I think the key for his development is if he can become a consistent 3-point shooter, which he's shown flashes in his development. If he can do that, he's going to be a next level type player for them. He can ultimately be a starter for them, I think. And with it's just so different nowadays with high school recruiting. Unless you get a top 25 kid, you are going to have to rely on the transfer portal for the following season. But for Lino Mark to visit, to see Dylan Harper run the Rutgers offense, and to see that vision of what it's becoming with an up-tempo style, he obviously gravitated towards that. And, who knows? Maybe he can come in next year and step in right away. I think he can be a rotational piece right away. Again, he's going to have to gain some muscle. He's pretty slight to go into Big Ten play, but certainly a piece that is valuable to this program and a really good recruiting win for them. It's always fun when you beat another Big Ten team like USC, which is still weird to say. They beat Seton Hall out for him. And then obviously West Virginia is been rolling on the recruiting trail. So that is certainly an intriguing ad for them. Lino Mark, 4-star point guard, out of California, national recruit, and Rutgers was ultimately able to land him. And I love that he plays for a high-profile EYBL team. That's not typical for Rutgers. Obviously, getting two of the top three recruits in the 24 class in Harper and Bailey is one thing, but to get a 4-star, to get a top 20 point guard and one that played for a very high profile EYBL team, that type of experience, it's invaluable. And I think that breeds confidence that he will ultimately carve out a role as a freshman. Again, 1-year seasons, have no idea. We know the freshmen that are on the roster we think will be back next year. Steve Pikiell talks about it being a 1-year team. But in terms of this 25 class, a little bit of a late start, missed on some bigger fishes, but now landing two guys in terms of Javante Ware and now Lino Mark, two players that are super athletic, can guard, defend, play really hard, play team basketball, and bring an element to this program now that just kind of fits in terms of the culture. Rutgers really active on the recruiting trail right now. They had a lot of visitors this past weekend for the Washington game. Kelvin Oda is a 4-star in the 2025 class. Currently ranked 56th nationally in the composite rankings, number 11 wing. He's also from California, Cassia, California. Rutgers competing against Colorado, Creighton, West Virginia, Marquette. But he just visited this past weekend, and Rutgers has a real shot with him. He visited earlier in September. He was originally slated for the 27th. So he is really intriguing. He can really knock it down from the perimeter. Playmaker, can defend multiple positions. So looking at him as a potential add in this class, Chris Newley, also from California, Sierra Canyon High School. He's a kind of an undersized 4, super athletic. He's a 4-star composite as well in the 2025 class. Rutgers involved with him. A lot of competition for his services. Louisville, kind of considered the favorite. They also had Latrell Allman, talking about the 2026 class, a 4-star, visiting recently this past weekend. Top 50 recruit, number 2 center in the 26 class. You also had Deron Rippey from Blair Academy. He is in the 26 class, number 21 nationally, number 4 point guard. So Rutgers had some big names visiting in the last couple weeks, and specifically in terms of the 25 class, Oda, if they could pair him along with Mark and Ware, be a super athletic class. There was hope they would get Keon Anthony back on campus or on campus for an official visit. He even scheduled it, but he recently knocked down his list to top 3. He's a heavy Syracuse lean, son of Carmelo. Would have been nice to get him on a visit, but not to be. But still, Rutgers involved with some promising kids. They also had Naz Hart from Neptune, New Jersey, Asbury at Park College Achieve in Asbury. He is a 3-star composite, 24/7, 2025 class. He's a 4-star in Rivals, so he's an intriguing player that's kind of jumped up the rankings a little bit here. He visited this past weekend, so the 25 class is far from done. I think they'll probably take, if they can, 5. Ideally, again, every year you're going to have to thread the needle with recruiting high school kids and the transfer portal. So Rutgers, if it's not going to be the same, right? They're not going to get the 2 of the top 3 recruits in the 25 class, but they are starting to stockpile now. Really talented, versatile, athletic kids in the top 150 of the rankings. If they can get 3, 4, 5 of those recruits, you're bringing added talent into the program. You're keeping that roster pipeline strong. The developmental aspect of this program cannot be understated. And you're going to have to, again, go into the transfer portal and add experience along with that young talent. But Lino Mark, an intriguing point guard from California. Rutgers really spreading their wings here in terms of the recruiting trail. I did mention previously with Javante Ware, I think you could see them add a couple recruits in the class later in the cycle. Potentially some bigger fish that might get back into the mix after seeing what this team does with Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. But really good vibes right now, starting to pick it up in the fall. Lino Mark, exciting point guard that has big game experience. Now a Rutgers Scarlet Knight. added with Javonte Ware for Rutgers. And as I mentioned, in the mix with a lot of other 25 and now 26 kids. But we'll have to see where this goes in terms of the 25 class. Kelvin Oda would be a big add as a scoring wing, playmaking wing to go along with the big man in Ware, and now the playmaking point guard in Lino Mark. We'll have more on Rutgers basketball media days on Thursday. I had a full episode out on Wednesday talking about preseason projections, all Big Ten preseason player teams. So check that out as well. Lino Mark, welcome to Rutgers. Thanks so much for listening and watching. And once again, here at the Scarlet Faithful.